What would you do if one night, walking on a quiet, deserted road, something with glowing eyes stared back at you from the darkness? This isn't a distant myth, but a story that gripped a small town in Massachusetts. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Nightside Archive. Tonight, we're diving into The Demon of Dover, America's nightmarish encounter. Buckle up, because this small town's chilling brush with the paranormal is unlike anything you've heard before. We're going back to the year 1977. It was an ordinary April evening, or so the residents of Dover thought. Dover was the kind of town where nothing much happened, nestled comfortably in New England's woodlands. That tranquility shattered when young William Bartlett and his friends encountered something they could barely put into words. On April 21st, around 10:30 p.m., 17-year-old Bill was driving his car down Farm Street when his headlights caught something unusual on a low stone wall by the road. At first, he thought it was a dog or a raccoon, but as his car got closer, he froze. There it was, a creature that he couldn't identify, clinging to the wall, staring at him with large, glowing orange eyes. It had a bulbous head, no nose, and a body so thin and gangly that calling it human wouldn't be accurate. Bill described it later as nothing like I've ever seen in my life. He sped away, unnerved but also doubting what he saw. Maybe his mind was playing tricks in the dim light. But soon it became clear. Bill wasn't alone in seeing this nightmare figure. Only a couple of hours later, another group of teenagers were trekking through the woods near Springdale Avenue. This time, 15-year-old John Baxter had his own encounter with the Dover Demon. Walking alone on the dark forest path, he glimpsed what he first thought was a person, or maybe an animal. But as the figure came into focus, John realized something was deeply wrong. The thing walked upright, but had an awkward, almost waddling gait, totally unnatural, like it didn't belong. It approached in the eerie silence of the woods, and John described its grotesque features matching exactly with the account Bill had earlier reported. The orange glowing eyes, the freakishly bulbous head, barely any discernible body mass, like it wasn't bound by earthly biology. You'd think this would be it, a shared hallucination, two scared kids connecting dots that weren't really there. Except the Demon of Dover wasn't done. The very next evening, the story took a deadlier spin. 18-year-old Abby Brabham, who was passing through the Bridge Street area, reported seeing the same orange-eyed being near a shallow creek. She didn't hear it coming. Only after looking out of her boyfriend's car window did she notice what looked like an alien figure crawling on all fours by the roadside. Abby yelped, terrified. Her frightened description matched word for word what Bill and John had earlier detailed to local authorities, and thus the name Dover Demon was born. Word spread quickly in the town. People were terrified, gripping their children tightly at night. Was this some elaborate hoax or a group-wide delusion born from mass hysteria? Paranormal investigators flooded the place, eager to decipher the truth. UFO enthusiasts latched onto the story instantly, suspecting that the creature might be extraterrestrial. After all, its appearance had that alien mystique. Thin limbs, big head, no definable face, other than those glowing, penetrating eyes. Skeptics suggested it was nothing more than a baby moose with a mangled appearance, or perhaps a stray animal with deformities mistaken for something sinister. But here's the twist. No records showed any moose in that area at the time, baby or otherwise, and besides, Bill, John, and Abby all adamantly denied that it could have been any ordinary animal. All three individuals had drawn eerily identical sketches of the Dover Demon, each one capturing the same chilling essence of the creature. Then, there's the eerie fact that after April 22nd, the Dover Demon was never spotted again. Not in Dover, not in the surrounding areas, just like that, gone. Its fleeting 24-hour reign of terror left behind more questions than answers. What makes the case particularly baffling is Dover's subsequent history. The town hadn't reported any major cryptid or paranormal sightings before or since these encounters. It's as though this event existed in its own little bubble of the unexplained. You'd assume after so many years, the witnesses, now adults with families of their own, might admit they were making it all up. But here's the thing, each of them held their ground. Even today, Bill Bartlett insists years later that he knows what he saw was real. "I didn't have any reason to fake it," he says in interviews, the memory of that peculiar figure still haunting him. Interestingly, the Dover demon hasn't gained the legendary status of creatures like Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster, but its obscurity only deepens its intrigue. Lovers of the paranormal argue this might be because of its one-off nature. After all, how do you categorize something with only 3 sightings, but each from a credible witness? Skeptics, meanwhile, shrug it off as a spooky folktale born from youthful imagination. A lingering theory, however, stands out among all others, a possibility that chills locals even now. Some believe the region's Native American history might be connected. Long before Dover became a sleepy Massachusetts town, the Algonquian people lived along the Charles River, surrounding themselves with tales of spirits and entities that could roam as boundary keepers of their sacred lands. Could the Dover demon have been connected to these ancient stories of watchful spirits? Or was it something crossing over from a different dimension, or even another planet? To this day, the mystery remains unsolved. No body was ever found. No footprints, no fur or DNA evidence. It's a fragment of a moment. These accounts lie frozen in time, leaving us to wonder, was this some yet-to-be-discovered creature whose brief foray into our world left it equally bewildered? Or was it something darker, a supernatural warning, or maybe just an illusion born out of mass paranoia? The demon of Dover resides in that curious gray area between reality and legend, waiting for someone, anyone, to make sense of it. And maybe that's what makes it so unsettling. It defies explanation, logic, and easy storytelling. It's a gap in our understanding where the chilling unknown thrives. If you ever visit Dover, you may walk those same wooded streets, wondering what it was that 3 teenagers saw that fateful April. And the next time you're out at night, be it on a rural road or deep in a forest, remember to glance over your shoulder, because you never know what might be staring back.